First live reaction from IDF now to the death of journalist Shireen Abu Akleh. With us is Lieutenant Colonel Amnon Shefler, IDF International Spokesperson. Good evening to you here in Tel Aviv. Tell me, please, what's the IDF's position as to what happened today?
Good evening, and thank you for having me, although this is a very unfortunate event. And if I may start with condolences to Ms. Abu Akleh, her family, and all reporters. The IDF is looking at this event in a very serious matter. The General Chief of Staff has ordered to inquire into this in a factual way, in a serious way. The commander of the Commando Brigade is heading this inquiry, and we're looking to find exactly what happened this morning.
The Chief of Staff was quoted earlier this evening as saying that it is not clear what happened. Is this now the current position of the IDF? It's not clear what happened?
Some things are clear and some things are not. So I would like to give us some context of what is clear. Sadly, what we know that in the last few weeks, we have had 19 people murdered in Israel. And this has brought us to have to act in a counterterrorism activity to stop this from continuing. We know that sadly, more than 50% of these terrorists is being coming out of the Jenin area. And that is why we had to carry out these counterterrorism activities inside Jenin, like this morning. And also what we know is that when we carry out these attacks, these activities, we are attacked in a very violent way by these militants and gunmen that are shooting in a sporadic, dangerous way, throwing explosives that might not only hurt IDF soldiers and other forces, but also Palestinians. And this is what we saw this morning, and that might have been what brought to the death of the reporter, Ms. Abu Akleh.
And still, the position is that it may not be clear, or it is not clear at this point what happened.
Yes. We don't want to rush to judgment. We are looking to find the truth, and as we always choose to do in a professional manner.
Except for the IDF's internal investigation, what other kind of investigations would you welcome, including international?
The IDF is a very professional army, and we have the tools to conduct this in a professional manner, and that is what we're doing. So we chose the good commanders in order to do so. And as you mentioned, the IDF Chief of the General Staff himself has looked into this already and will continue doing so until we know exactly the facts and the truth of what happened.
Latest word from the autopsy on the Palestinian side just a few minutes ago was that this is inconclusive. They don't know, they said, according to the autopsy, what happened. Is it possible that we'll never know?
I don't know, but I hope we will, and I know that we will make all the efforts in order to know. And you brought up something that is very important. We have offered the Palestinians in order to find the truth, to do this inquiry together and have the autopsy done in the most professional manner so that we can really find what happened this morning.
Right. Now, let's say you do find that it was an Israeli fire. What happens then?
Well, as always, in these kind of events, we will learn from it. We will distribute the lessons learned to others in order to make sure that our values are properly followed in our protocols and the way that we conduct. That is what we're always looking to be. We have found various ways to conduct the activity that sadly we need to carry out in counterterrorism and fighting terrorism in the most accurate way that we strike and stop only the terrorists. So the main thing that will happen is that we will continue learning how to be better. Alongside that, the General Chief of Staff and myself included, personally I can say this, are very sorry in the sense that a reporter has been killed, and wish to send her family and her colleagues condolences.